Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something we all take for granted until it literally goes sideways. We're taking a fascinating look at the high-stakes journey of a tire failure. We're going to trace this life cycle from the terrifying moment of a highway blowout all the way to the intense, highly regulated safety protocols of the repair shop. It's a world where split-second decisions and uncompromising rules are the only thing standing between routine service and serious danger. Here's our roadmap for today. First, when tires fail. Second, roadside response protocols. Third, the technician's playbook. Fourth, heavy-duty hazards. And finally, building a culture of safety. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. When tires fail. The driver's critical reaction.
Picture this. You're cruising down the highway, everything's fine. But what happens when everything riding on your tires suddenly fails? You might hear a massive bang, feel a sudden violent vibration, or the vehicle might just aggressively pull to one side. In that literal fraction of a second, your reaction dictates absolutely everything.
So, let's break down the exact step-by-step sequence from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration on how to get control back. The absolute most important thing: do not brake or abruptly turn the steering wheel. That instinct to slam on the brakes is exactly what causes rollovers. Instead, you've got to hold the steering wheel firmly with both hands, actually maintain your speed momentarily if you safely can, and then gradually ease off the accelerator. Only after the vehicle feels stable should you gently tap those brakes and pull off the road.
Now, modern tech actually tries to give us a heads up before a catastrophic blowout like that happens. Enter the TPMS, or Tire Pressure Monitoring System. It's required on all passenger vehicles from 2008 onward. Whether it looks like a little cross-section of a tire with an exclamation mark, or maybe a top-down view of a car, this light is your very first line of defense. It pops on when your tire pressure is significantly underinflated, basically screaming at you to pull over before that underinflation turns into an explosive tread separation.
Moving on to Section 2, Roadside Response Protocols, bringing the shop to you.
Let's set the scene out here. It's rush hour on the busy I-295 corridor. Cars are absolutely flying by at high speeds, and you've got a stranded driver stuck on a dangerously narrow shoulder. The mobile response goal here is a rapid 30 to 45-minute target arrival time across the region. But when our technician, Carlos, rolls up to the scene, he doesn't just jump out with a wrench in hand. No way. He instantly executes strict traffic control. First thing, hazard lights are blazing. Next, he's setting up reflective warning triangles way down the road to warn incoming traffic. Safe technician positioning out here is a matter of life and death. An incredibly unsafe move would be working with his back totally exposed to live traffic, or trusting some flimsy jack on uneven highway asphalt. Definitely not. Instead, Carlos angles his massive heavy-duty service truck to act as a protective physical barrier between the rushing cars and the stranded vehicle. He essentially builds a secure mini-shop right there on the dangerous shoulder.
And there's a profound psychological piece to this kind of emergency response too. The DMV Tire Depot Shop Handbook has this brilliant quote. It says, "In an emergency, customers and newer teammates will take their cue from you. Calm saves lives." When Carlos steps into that chaotic I-295 scene, his methodical, rehearsed actions don't just secure the physical perimeter, they completely de-escalate the panic of that stranded driver.
These roadside protocols, they build into highly structured emergency first moves that technicians memorize for handling crises anywhere, on the road or in the shop bay. There is zero ambiguity here. Got a fire? You pull the alarm, evacuate, and call 911. Serious injury? Call 911 immediately. Make the area safe so nobody else gets hurt, and notify a manager. These clear-cut, step-by-step responses are completely drilled into memory so that when the adrenaline inevitably spikes, the protocol just seamlessly takes over.
Section 3. The Technician's Playbook, Achieving Zero Accidents.
All right, let's look at the absolute non-negotiables from the technician playbook. In the Bay, a tech's signature is literally their reputation. They must never sign off on unverified work. They can never skip using a calibrated wrench for the final torque spec. And if a vehicle is unsafe, they absolutely do not return it to service, they escalate it. Every single routine tire rotation gets the exact same rigorous quality check as a full set of new tires, because honestly, the seemingly small boring jobs are exactly where dangerous shortcuts try to sneak in.
Because there is a massive difference between a safe action and an incredibly unsafe shortcut. Think about a hydraulic seal on a vehicle lift. It can fail without a single second of warning. So the safe action is always engaging the mechanical safety locks before any part of a human body goes under that multi-ton vehicle. The unsafe shortcut? Trusting a jack all by itself, or ripping off an equipment safety guard just because it's quote-unquote in the way.
In this industry, trying to work around a safety device is a guaranteed recipe for a catastrophic, life-altering accident. It is so vital to remember that behind every mechanical repair is a human being. Like the handbook clearly states, your body is your career. Backs and hands simply do not heal the way they used to, once they're severely injured. Taking an extra 2 seconds to grab a teammate for a heavy lift on a massive truck tire, or just throwing on your safety glasses before using an air impact tool, that is literally the cheapest insurance a technician will ever buy.
Section 4, Heavy-Duty Hazards, OSHA and the Multi-Piece Rim.
Now, what is incredibly interesting here is OSHA's strict mandate on specific tools. You can't just grab any random hammer in the shop. OSHA explicitly requires soft-faced dead-blow hammers, rubber mallets, or plastic-faced tools. Why? Because striking a heavily pressurized rim assembly with a hard steel hammer, or even a hammer with a cracked handle, can actually dent and damage those heavy metal components. That invisible damage can cause a massive steel ring to violently separate later on. To manage this, OSHA requires highly methodical, step-by-step procedures for servicing these solid rims and split rings. Technicians have to progressively pry the side ring out using really small bites so they don't distort the metal. They have to use specialized tire stands, totally deflate the tire by removing the valve core before they loosen even a single clamp, and rigorously inspect every single piece of metal. If components are mismatched or bent, putting air into that tire essentially turns it into a bomb. Which brings us to the most crucial point, this explicit warning right here. Stay out of the trajectory. When a tech reinflates one of these heavy-duty tires, they have to use a restraining device like a heavy steel cage. Furthermore, they must stand far clear of the possible explosion path. An overpressurized bead can explode with deadly force. OSHA rules dictate you never ever exceed the maximum pressure just to seat a bead, because if that metal ring blows off, anything standing in its trajectory is going to be completely destroyed.
Section 5, A Culture of Safety. Blame hides hazards.
This brings us to a deeply progressive safety philosophy. The core mantra is simple: blame hides hazards. Think about it. If a technician makes a mistake or has a scary near miss and they're terrified of getting fired, what happens? They hide it. And if they hide it, the very next person to make that exact same mistake might get killed. So, modern shops treat incident reports like gifts. They're free warnings. The goal is to fix the broken system, coach the employee, and never punish the messenger who had the courage to step forward.
And this culture gets reinforced every single day. A 5-minute toolbox talk at the morning huddle might feel small, but it plants absolutely critical habits. One day, the focus might be on bleeding compressed air hoses before disconnecting them so they don't violently whip around. The next day, it's about spotting pinch points on the tire changer machine. These tiny, daily reminders are exactly what stands between a totally normal shift and a devastating injury.
This next policy might be the most empowering thing in the entire playbook. Stop work authority. Every single employee, from the brand new trainee to the veteran lead technician, has the absolute right, and honestly the obligation, to stop a job if it feels unsafe. If a piece of equipment sounds weird or a customer's vehicle requires a sketchy workaround, they hit the brakes. And the ironclad guarantee is that there is no penalty, ever, for utilizing that stop work authority. Which leaves us with this final thought. We rarely think about our tires until they suddenly fail on us, and we rarely think about the mechanics until we are desperate for a rescue. But the next time you hit the road, or hand your keys over to a technician, will you recognize the massive, invisible safety net of protocols, OSHA regulations, and daily habits that are quietly keeping everyone alive? It's a complex, high-stakes system, and it runs smoothly precisely because of the uncompromising rules we've explored today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, stay safe out there.